Hey everybody, welcome to the Prepatch. This video is going to be pretty short. I'm just going to do a brief overview of how you should spec and look in the Prepatch. I'll do a much longer, more concise video once Shadowlands drops to talk about covenants and conduits and suggestions of how to play stuff back about that time. So this is just about the Prepatch. Nothing too crazy. Talent-wise, what I would recommend here is to run with this build-up. So Abyssal Strike, so it lowers the cooldown of your Infernal Strike by 8 seconds and drops a Sigil Flame, so this is the old school Flame Crash. Keep in mind you lose the 10 yards that you had in, BFA. So our Infernal Strike with Abyssal Strike is only a 30-yard leap and not a 40, so that was nerfed by 10 yards. But still, at this moment, this is the best talent to take. There is a secondary build in Shadowlands once we get legendaries that you could run Agonizing Flames, but until then, it's really not worth it. Fellblade is just dead. Row 25, Feast of Souls is terrible, don't use it. Fallout is still the go-to. Get souls from Immolation if you're lucky, 20% chance. It's still worth using, still good. Burning Alive, don't take it. We may take it in Mythic Plus in Shadowlands, but as of right now, we don't have the legendaries, so it's not worth it. Row 30, Infernal Armor is not good. It makes you stronger when you're already strong, and when you're not strong, it barely helps, so it's not worth. Charred Flesh is okay, but again, we want the legendary in Shadowlands before we want to use this. So Spirit Bomb does a lot more damage than Soul Cleave, and it is still good. So highly recommended that you run Spirit Bomb until at least Shadowlands. Row 35, Sword Rending is terrible. 5% leech is nothing, and we're barely in meta. Feed the Demon is still good. If you're dying in Mythic Plus, you don't mind spamming Shear, then run Feed the Demon. I'm not gonna run it because I hate the playstyle, but you can if you want. And Fracture is just, I don't know, it makes everything feel better in my opinion, like the flow of the spec, the rotation. So I'd recommend Fracture. This row here is up to you. So Sigil Chains is the go-to best in Mythic Plus in some rating counters. I don't know who's rating in pre-patch. I'm probably not going to. Um, but it's still there, still the best talent in this row. Quicken Sigil might be okay later in Shadowlands. I don't remember if this works with Kyrian. I'm going to have to test it prior to doing my next video. And then Concentrated is alright as well. But Sigil Chains, otherwise run Concentrated. And then row 45, go-to is Demonic. Every time you use Feldev, you go into Metamorphosis for 6 seconds. And Feldev is on a 1-minute timer, so based on the last video I created, this was nerfed pretty bad. So we're in meta for 6 seconds instead of 8, and then Feldev is on a 1-minute cooldown instead of a 45-second cooldown. So this was nerfed, and I don't know why they did that. Soul Barrier has potential. If you're able to maximize the souls after you pop Soul Barrier, you could probably get some use out of this. If you're really bad at feeding the shield before it breaks, Soul Barrier is not good. But if you're good enough to do it, then it might be worth it. It'd be really hard to use effectively, especially every time. So if you're good and you want to use it, it's okay. Demonic, probably better. Soul Barrier could be used. And Void River, 6% less damage, really isn't going to save your life. I liked it a lot in BFA at the start, but if you're taking 6% less damage, how many times do you barely survive based on that 6% difference? It's probably not worth it compared to a Metamorphosis on a 1-minute cooldown on demand. And then row 50, Last Resort is the best pick hands down. Nothing's changed. Ruinous Bulwark heals you for 15% additionally with Feldev. It doesn't really heal that much, so 15% is really not much. And then 50% of the overhealing is converted into a shield. So if you take Demonic, you're already in Metamorphosis, so this makes you stronger when you're already strong. However, if you are doing challenging content, you're not going to get overhealing because you're going to be low on HP because you're going to be getting hit as you're channeling. You can't parry while channeling, so you'll be taking more damage. So the likelihood of you overhealing goes way down once you're actually in challenging content like Mythic Raiding or doing a giant pull in Mythic Plus. So overall, this talent is not good. It needs to be reworked. Yeah. And then bulk extraction. 1.5 minute cooldown, you do fire damage to up to 5 targets around you, with a chance to rip out 5 souls and then immediately consume them. So this is bad because 1.5 minute cooldown is way too high, and then it's up to 5 souls, 1 per target. So if you're fighting a boss, just a single target boss, on a 1.5 minute cooldown, you're gonna rip out 1 soul. And that's just it's not good, not good. So this is what I'm gonna run until I'm level 60, and I am in raids and Mythic Plus. Mythic Plus, I might do a different build in Shadowlands, which I'll talk about in a future video. And then if we look at our abilities, not much here has changed. Shatter Souls was nerfed. We now heal for 6% of all damage taken in the last 5 seconds instead of 8%. So that's a pretty large nerf, and again, I don't know why they did that. And then, if we look at the Vengeance here, Soul Cleave was nerfed. I think it was the healing was nerfed slightly. Again, I don't know why. There was, oh yeah, otherwise, it's just Feldev. Like, Feldev is as well, it's not baseline. 50 Fury cost is cool, I like it. It's probably the best part of the pre-patch is having this talent be baseline. It's pretty amazing. So 50 Fury, you jump, you just nuke everything in front of you, and then if you have Demonic, you go into Demon form. And I can show you that if I find something real quick. Of course, I'm in town, there's nothing around me. Overall, let's talk about just the spec in general. There's a lot of talk going around that we're the best Mythic Plus tanks for Shadowlands, and as of right now, I would agree from what we're seeing in beta. And people are messaging me. So, however, I want you to keep in mind that right now in Mythic Plus dungeons, everybody is running, everybody has a kite. Tuning for tanks is terrible. Every single person has to kite, and because everybody has to kite, we're the best kiters. So we are automatically a tier above everybody else. And then add in people are abusing the Lycian Sigil, so the Kyrian ability with a legendary, so spamming the Covenant ability over and over and over again for massive damage. So it looks like we're doing massive damage and we can kite, therefore we're the best. Once the tuning finally goes through, we know it's coming, like there's no way they're not tuning this. We're going to drop probably pretty hard. I will comment on that once we see the changes. But the idea is our active mitigation is one of the lowest out of all the tanks. So once all the tanks no longer have to kite and they can stay in and tank it like a tank, we won't have the active mitigation up remotely as much, so we probably still will have to kite. So when you compare the damage of two tanks, the tank that's not running away will probably end up doing way more damage over the course of an entire run versus us who has to run away some arbitrary, like say 30% of the time. So just a warning, don't get too hyped because we're all expecting tuning to come in and we are going to drop from the top tier is the guess. I could be wrong, but just a heads up. If you're looking for flavor of the month, I would still keep waiting until we see what happens. So quickly, if you look at Fell Devastation, so let me just pop out some souls here. So Fell Dev looks really cool. Then you stay in meta for 6 seconds. So pretty sweet. Other than that, only other recommendations, I guess, is essences. I'm gonna run Crucible of Flame as major. If you're dying, I guess you could always run Vision of Perfection. You could always run a Vision of Perfection as a minor for the reduction, 25% cooldown a minute. So I'll probably just run COF. I'm probably going to run Conflict and Strife. And then the other ones really don't matter. Probably Nullification Dynamo and Formless Void just because I'm lazy. And I'm not really going to be pushing Mythic Plus. And I'm probably not going to raid Mythic until Shadowlands. And that's really it. Gear-wise, item level is highest priority. And then Haste, Verse, Crit, and Mastery. But item level is almost always better, except for rings and trinkets. Otherwise, yeah, I'm just going to conclude it there. Really, we didn't change much outside of Feldev and a few talents switching around, but we can't really take advantage of that until Shadowlands. So, if you have any questions, please make a comment and I'll respond. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.